What's the biggest "oh, he actually hates women" moment you've experienced? I met Philip through my roommates. He seemed super chill, laughed at my jokes, asked follow-up questions about my interests, and didn't do that thing where guys immediately try to explain my own hobbies to me. We ended up in the same friend group and started hanging out regularly. At first, everything was totally normal. He'd share memes in our group chat, showed up to game nights with snacks, and generally seemed like a decent human. He even shut down some random dude who was being creepy to Kylie at a concert we all went to. I remember thinking how refreshing it was to meet a guy who actually respected women without making a whole personality out of it. The first tiny red flag happened during a group hangout at Aurora's place. We were watching some Netflix show with a female lead, and Philip kept sighing and checking his phone. When someone asked if he was bored, he just mumbled something about forced diversity and how they're just checking boxes now. I exchanged glances with Kylie but didn't say anything. It felt off, but not enough to make a thing about it. When a girl in our extended friend circle got promoted, he suggested she probably had other ways of impressing her boss. When I mentioned being frustrated about some guy catcalling me, he laughed and said I should take it as a compliment because someday you'll miss the attention. Each time I'd feel this little twinge of discomfort, but then rationalize it away because hey, nobody's perfect, right? Then came this road trip 6 of us took to a music festival 3 hours away. I ended up in Philip's car with Rodney while the others drove separately. About an hour in, Rodney fell asleep in the back seat, and Philip clearly thought this was his chance for real talk. It started with him asking about my dating life. Normal enough question, but when I mentioned a recent awkward Hinge date, he launched into this whole thing about how dating apps have ruined women by giving them too many options. He kept saying stuff like how girls these days are too picky and don't appreciate good guys anymore. The way he said girls made my skin crawl. I tried changing the subject, but he was on a roll. He started ranting about his ex, who apparently trapped him in a relationship for 2 years, then got increasingly bitter, talking about how women are naturally manipulative and programmed to use men for resources. All this time, I'm just sitting there, literally trapped in his car on the highway, trying to figure out how this was the same guy who seemed so normal before. The whole vibe had shifted, and I suddenly felt super aware of being alone with him, except for sleeping Rodney. I started texting Kylie in our girls' chat with my phone angled away from Philip, just saying how uncomfortable things had gotten. She suggested I pretend to fall asleep too, which I did for the rest of the drive. At the festival itself, I stuck close to the others and avoided being alone with him. But during the headliner set, I got separated from my friends in the crowd. As I was trying to find them, I spotted Philip nearby talking to some guys I didn't recognize. They were all laughing about something, and as I got closer, I heard Philip saying, "Yeah, I brought some girls along, but they're being typical females, complaining about everything. One of them's decent though. Not like most chicks, you know? Actually can hang." I just stood there, processing that he was clearly talking about me as the decent one, the not like other girls exception that apparently made his obvious contempt for women okay. In that moment, everything clicked. All those little comments, the jokes, the eye rolls, they weren't isolated incidents. This was who he actually was. I quietly walked away and found Kylie and Wayne by the merch tents. I didn't even tell them what happened until the next day. Honestly, the worst part wasn't even the things he said, but realizing how completely I'd misjudged him. For months, I'd been giving benefit of the doubt to someone who fundamentally saw me and every other woman as lesser. The drive back was awful. I made sure to ride with Wayne instead, claiming I got carsick in Philip's car. We've all slowly distanced from him since then, though he seems oblivious as to why. Occasionally he'll still send something in the group chat, but most of us leave him on red now.